Welcome to Hope for Recovery, a 12-step workshop, sponsored by the Saturday Serenity Meeting of Eating Disorders Anonymous, which is a fellowship of people who share their experience, strength, and hope with each other that they might solve their common problems and help others to recover from their eating disorders. Information about EDA can be found at 4eda.org, the number 4eda.org. Handouts for all sessions of this workshop can be found at edahopeforrecovery.com. And now, here's today's workshop.
Welcome to week 12 of the Hope for Recovery workshop. Today we're going to have an opportunity to take step 7 together, and we'll also be covering step 8. My name is Regina. I live in San Diego, California, and I'm a grateful recovered member of Eating Disorders Anonymous. I serve as chairperson of the Hope for Recovery Workshop Committee. Please join me for a moment of quiet and a deep breath, which I need today because I've been worrying a lot about the internet, which I'm powerless over. Thank you. Please remember to turn your camera off if you're moving about or doing anything distracting. This workshop is being recorded to create an audio version, so if you choose to share, your voice may be heard on the recording. We studied the 7th step last week and introduced the 7th step prayer and alternative statement. I would like for all of us to look again at the prayer and alternative statement before we move on to step 8. I will read them and invite you to join me in taking step 7 together. If you're listening to the audio recording of this workshop, these are found on page 178 of the EDA Big Book. The 7th step prayer. My Creator, I am now willing that you should have all of me, good and bad. I pray that you now remove from me every single defective character that stands in the way of my usefulness to you and my fellows. Grant me strength as I go out from here to do your bidding. Amen. 7th step alternative statement. I recognize and accept that I have been living with many self-oriented concerns and issues that have held me back from cheerful service to greater good. I now let go of worry about my shortcomings, and I choose to focus instead on serving effectively and well. I trust that as I focus more on my service than on my issues, the shortcomings that stand in the way of my usefulness will diminish, and the authenticity, integrity, dedication, and skills that my service requires will grow stronger. My daily follow-through on my commitment to serve will become my strength. We are shortly going to go into breakout rooms where we will have a chance to share our writing on the 7th step prayer or alternative statement if you've written one. However, for the sake of the recording, I'm going to ask for a few committee members to share their 7th step prayer or alternative statement with the entire group. Dawn, I understand you've written kind of a mashup between an alternative statement and a prayer. I'd love to hear it.
Thank you, Regina. My name is Donna. I'm a grateful recovering member of Eating Disorders Anonymous, and this is my statement of intention. My purpose is to be of maximum use to God and to my fellows, and my focus is on serving effectively and well. I offer myself unreservedly to my Creator, surrendering any and all defects of character that may diminish my usefulness. I thank God for the strength to serve as His instrument and partner, and for the gifts of authenticity, integrity, dedication, and skills, all to better fulfill my purpose. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. Ed.
7th step prayer. Dear Lord, I ask that you remove my shortcomings, errors, and defects of character and replace them with unconditional love, kindness, and compassion towards myself and others. I ask for a durable, robust recovery that embraces sound nutrition, the joy of life, and loving service to all.
Thank you, Ed. Bev, would you go next?
Thanks, Regina. I'm Bev, recovering from an eating disorder. Father God, I humbly give myself to you today to use me for your purpose. Remove those things that keep me from being the best I can be. Remove my selfishness that I may think of others. Remove my dishonesty that I may speak truth. And remove my fear that I may initiate change in myself. Replace them with a desire to see you and hear your voice telling me how I can be of service to you and others. I ask this in your name. Amen.
Thank you, Bev. Rachel.
Holy Presence, great Mother of Mystery, may my life be for you. May I resign from defining myself in pasts and futures, that I may live wholly engaged in the now, where you are unfolding, revealing your presence. May I remember to turn my attention to your ever-available loving direction when I am in turmoil or trouble. I surrender to your guidance, away from self-aggrandizing, toward joyful service to all life. I thank you for any and all opportunities to humbly, anonymously, and lovingly be of service. Yours in the flow.
Thank you. We are now going to go on to step 8, and it is my pleasure to introduce Marthy, who is our leader today.
Hi everyone, I'm Marthy and I live in Northern California and I am a grateful recovered member of EDA. I will read the long version of step 8 from the Appendix A of the EDA Big Book. Step 8, made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. We made a list of people we had treated badly, no matter how they treated us. We accepted responsibility for our part and made an effort to forgive them for their part. Now we will read selections from the EDA Big Book about step 8. Let's get our books and open them to page 179. Volunteers, after you read, you may share for 1 to 2 minutes or feel free to pass. I have Tim B. Could you please read page 179, second and third paragraphs, which begins as the A.
I am Tim B. and recovering from an eating disorder. As the AA text notes, we already have a list of persons we have harmed and whom we are willing to make amends. We made it when we took the inventory. You may be a little apprehensive about starting this step because you may still feel distressing emotions about the people you listed on your 4th step. Please understand that such misgivings are quite normal. It is unlikely that your mind will become so trained to the new way of thinking that you will not harbor troublesome feelings ever again. But when they do come up, we put ourselves somewhere safe and consider the following question. Do I want to continue to stay stuck in self-pity, resentment, and fear, or do I want to walk free of these encumbrances? Hopefully, we have developed enough perspective to see that we actually have a choice.
Thanks, Tim. And would you like to share? Or you can pass.
No, I'll quickly share. I do feel I've felt some excitement about step 8. I've been seeing it come like a light in a tunnel for a number of weeks now. And as it gets closer, I am feeling some of that apprehension. That said, I feel really eager to clean up the messes I've made along the way. And I'm approaching it with a really kind of thorough, holistic attitude. So I feel excitement and a healthy amount of apprehension, but it's not going to get in the way. And I'm so grateful that I have support through everyone on this call, my sponsor, and with that, I'll pass. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Next, we have Cheryl. Could you please read page 180, the first paragraph, which begins in step 4, we saw.
Cheryl, suffering from an eating disorder. In step 4, we saw how our errors created and perpetuated hurtful situations. Now we need to find the courage to change what we think, possibly more extensively than we outlined in the resolutions column on our step 4 inventory. In step 6 and 7, we have been practicing moving past our crippling emotions so we can take a new attitude when the things come up in our daily life. Now we are being asked to consider taking restorative action that addresses our errors of the past. I'll pass.
Thanks, Cheryl. Natalie, could you please read page 180, the second paragraph, which begins, we review our 4th step inventory.
Hello, my name is Natalie. I have an eating disorder. We review our 4th step inventory list one more time. It may not be perfect, but we leave it alone rather than trying to correct it. We have reviewed and gotten feedback when we gave our 5th step, and now we need to move forward rather than belaboring work already completed. We will have additional opportunities to work on inventory items in step 10. Each day is a new beginning with a fresh set of opportunities to apply these principles. I pass. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalie. And Tina N., could you please read page 180, the 4th paragraph, which begins, forgiveness brought us.
Hi, I'm Tina, and I have an eating disorder. Forgiveness brought us peace, yet perhaps we cannot forgive everything. Sometimes people have treated us and others in ways that are simply unconscionable. In such cases, we remember that we ourselves seemed helpless in the grip of our eating disorders. At times, we felt that we had no effective choice in what we thought and did. We were powerless in the grip of emotions and unable to manage our thoughts and behaviors. Now that we are asked to forgive people who hurt us, we consider that perhaps they too were swept away by tides of emotion and patterns of thought and behavior that they could not seem to control. We know now that we had to find a different context to get any kind of durable objectivity. This has not been an easy matter for any of us who were unsure if we could find this new perspective work for us in the long run. How difficult must it then be for others to change when we find it so difficult for ourselves? We remember that those who hurt us are as vulnerable as we are, though it may not always seem that way. I'll pass.
Thanks, Tina. Eileen, may you please read page 181, the first full paragraph, which begins, while forgiveness is.
Hi, my name's Eileen. I'm recovering from an eating disorder. While forgiveness is critical to our own recovery, we feel that it is important to point out that in cases where we are the object of, rather than the perpetrator of, serious injuries, such as rape or battery, we are personally accountable for ensuring the situation is safe for everyone. In other words, if there is a present danger to others, we think it advisable to contact the proper authorities to ensure that the perpetrator is in custody or otherwise publicly tracked if at all possible. That's a very powerful statement. I'm fortunate to know that I had some things, but nothing as difficult as that is in my life, and I'm grateful for that. I do want to say that after 37 years, I left a marriage that was certainly not something positive, and there was some physical situation in there. And when I look back at that, and I feel this sense that I really don't have to forgive the person who did that to me, but I also know that I don't have to keep the pain alive to keep the truth alive. And I really think that that's important for me. I can forgive, but that doesn't mean that it hasn't happened. And in this case, the person is passed, so that there's no way that I could actually make amends, even if I wanted to at this point. So I really believe God has brought me to a place where, I can accept what's happened as truth for me. And the part that, like I said, I don't have to be in pain to realize that it did happen to me. So I can let some of that go. I'm grateful for this step. And with that, I'll pass. Thank you.
Thank you, Eileen. Leslie, may you please read page 181, second full paragraph, which begins, making amends to.
I'm Leslie. I'm in the UK and I have an eating disorder. Making amends to people we have not forgiven may feel insincere, but doing so opens a door through which empathy and forgiveness can enter. All that is required is the recognition that other people suffer from thoughts that create pain and misery, just like we do. When we feel empathy for the people on our list, even if we do not like their behavior, we may be ready to move on to step 9. Yeah, I just, what I've come to learn in the fellowship that I'm already a member of is that I'm not so different from everybody else, or rather they're not so different from me. So if I hurt, they can hurt, and sort of vice versa. So yeah, it's never all their fault or all my fault. And I like the beginning of this page where it talks about, considering if our behavior was so awful and this is how I take it to mean, if we're sort of looking for forgiveness, and then who are we to not be forgiving of other people's, So yeah, I think it's been written really nicely. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie. And last but not least, we have Judy. Could you please read page 232, the paragraph which begins, preparation for step 8.
Hi, my name is Judy on the west coast of the US and recovering from an eating disorder. Preparations for step 8. Ask your sponsee to read the end of step 7 and all of step 8 in chapter 6. Remind sponsees that we often do not have much perspective on whom we have harmed and in what ways, so they should reflect carefully. Without worrying about making amends at this time, we ask them just to make a list of persons they have harmed and how. I don't have anything to add. I'll pass.
Thank you, Judy, and thank you everyone who read and for your beautiful shares. In step 8, we make a list of those we have harmed and develop willingness to make amends. I have asked Trish to read the next 2 slides, which offer guidance for making a step 8 list.
Hi, I'm Trish, and I have the desire to recover from my eating disorder. And guidance for making a step 8 list. In step 4, we listed people toward whom we had hard feelings. In step 8, we consider how our attitudes and behaviors have created difficulty and misery for others. Think through your life and identify people you have harmed in any way. You may find it helpful to consult your step 4 brainstorm lists. Beside each name, indicate the ways you may have caused harm. Be sure to consider financial impacts, effects on property, bullying, mean-spiritedness, impacts to social and corporate standing, slander, abuse, emotional and verbal and physical, lies, negligence, and withholding familial or spousal affection or love. In chapter 7 of the EDA Big Book, titled Working with Others, the following direction is given to sponsors related to step 8. Remind sponsees that we often do not have much perspective on whom we have harmed and in what ways, so they should reflect carefully. Without worrying about making amends at this time, we ask them just to make a list of persons they have harmed and how.
Thanks. We are now ready to take a look at this week's homework. 1, for step 8, make a list of people you have harmed and briefly state specifically how you harmed them. For the purpose of this workshop, you may wish to limit your list to 5 to 10 amends that you are currently willing to make knowing that you will have additional opportunities to do more work on this in the future. Remember to focus only on creating your Step 8 list this week. We strongly encourage you to not make any amends until you have consulted with your sponsor or another experienced 12-step group member. If you can, share your list with your sponsor or another EDA member. 2, read one story from the EDA Big Book Personal Story section, Part 2, They Stopped in Time. 3, use your 3rd and 7th step prayers or alternative statements daily and continue to implement your 10th and 11th step practices. 4, call at least one person from this workshop or the EDA fellowship between now and the next session to share with each other. We will wrap up with a quote from the EDA Big Book, page 181, which offers guidance should you feel unwilling to make a particular amends. If willingness to make amends does not come easily, we suggest prayer. We pray for the health, success, and happiness of those to whom we need to make amends, even if it feels disingenuous at first. If we keep up this daily practice for a while, we may find we come to mean what we say. Those who are not comfortable with prayer can instead earnestly wish that those with whom we struggle be granted all good things, including peace, safety, purpose, good health, humor, and love. I will now turn the workshop over to Regina, the workshop chair, who will facilitate the next part of the workshop.
Thank you so much, Marthy. For those of you who have checked out our bonus videos on YouTube, where we have members telling their story, Marthy has agreed to share her story, and she will be showing up on one of the bonus videos, and hopefully there will be 5 of those ultimately. All right. This is the part of the workshop where everyone is encouraged to share a milestone. Everyone is encouraged to share a milestone, ask any questions, or share anything at all. I was going to begin because I have the opportunity to think about things I said in the past and go, oh no, I said that. But anyhow, a couple of weeks ago during step 5, someone talked about, I think, being in a supermarket and having a strong desire to eat and feeling very powerless. And I suggested that that when that happens, if there is what I call the sacred pause, where there is a moment to think about, to be aware of what's happening rather than the food just being in your mouth, which used to happen to me all the time. There was no pause. But if there is a pause, to think it through, think, okay, if I eat this, what are the benefits? What are the downsides? If I don't eat it, what are the pluses, the pros and cons? And, if possible, to think about that before acting out. And however it goes, it goes. And I was sharing with a friend about this, and who's in AA, and she said, oh, in AA, we have a slogan, think the drink through. And I'm like, yes, that was my point. But in EDA, that's fine, that's great. But what we also want to do in EDA is ask the question, what am I feeling? Because we know it's about feelings, not food. And I didn't say that. I'm embarrassed, but I'm saying it now. Whenever when I have my sacred pause and I'm thinking about food, eating, whatever, body image, I ask, well, what else might I be feeling? And it's so helpful. It's so helpful to ask that question. With me, it's usually I'm tired, I should lie down. But sometimes it's other things too. Okay, so please raise your hand if you have a milestone or a comment or a question. And we'll begin with Trish from Indiana.
Hi, I'm Trish. I have a desire to recover from my eating disorder, and my milestone is being here and just really just feel like, even though I've read this, I feel like I'm hearing a lot of it for the first time, and realizing what I need to do, that maybe the others were in the wrong, but how did I react that caused the misery, like they were saying in the book, and just a lot with family, obviously, and so I'm just really grateful to be here and allowing this to seep into my brain and consider everything and realize maybe there is some hope, for me. So thank you.
Thanks, Trish. Leslie.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Leslie, still in the UK. My milestone is along the lines of a character building exercise, I think, and it's all around control. At the weekend, I went to a choir, which I'm a member of, and we were doing a performance, and I was at the mercy of somebody giving me a lift. And it was the first time in I don't know how long that had happened, because my husband can't drive me now. And to be at their mercy, if you like, it was out of my control. I couldn't get home when I wanted to. I couldn't, not go for a coffee when they wanted to. I just had to go along, go with the flow. And it was great. And I had such a fabulous time and just relaxed into the day. And it was really lovely. And along the lines of control, I was doing it this morning when I was out for the day, and I said to my husband, I let go of the control over the Christmas tree, and I said, if you want to, you can put up the Christmas tree. And I was on the bus thinking, what's he going to do with the Christmas tree? What's he going to be like? And I was thinking about how controlling I am about those sorts of things. But on the other side of the coin, I was thinking, but I was controlling his day. I was thinking I was doing him a favor, but I was kind of saying, if you want something to do, you could be doing the Christmas tree. So again, there's control. Again, this whole control thing seems to be, I'm making inroads into it and aware of it, but it keeps on cropping up. So that's me. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that with us, Leslie. Scarlett.
Hi. So I have a question and a milestone. My question is, can you list yourself as a person you need to make amends to in this step?
Well, you can do whatever you want. And it's very common.
Okay, that's good to know. And then my milestone is I officially did enough of my 4th step to be able to move on to the 5th step. Someone who's not my sponsor, but a sponsor suggested doing at least 5 of each feeling. And I was going to only do 2 because some of them I have like over 20. So I did 5 of each one, and I'm officially ready to move on to the 5th step. So,
Scarlett, congratulations on your milestone.
thank you.
Wonderful. Melissa.
Hi, Regina, and hi, everybody. It's wonderful to be on this path with you guys. It's a beautiful spiritual path we're on, and we're always learning and growing. And I wanted to share a milestone that I'm noticing a peace coming over me in an emotional way, where what used to really trouble me when I was having difficult conversations with my husband about my wishes for what I wanted to do that I knew would not go over well because it's whatever. I don't want to go into too much detail, but what I guess I want to say is that I'm able to turn my character defect of control and quick to anger when somebody doesn't get me or see my point. I'm able to turn that into a sense of peace and calm where I say, it's okay. This is a process of understanding each other. And I don't have to go for the win in the conversation. I can say, we'll revisit this. And I feel like I was glad I could tell you what I was wanting today. And even if it's still a work in progress, we're going to get to a place of peace together. So it's like, I am amazed at this. Who is this person who's patient? That's not my signature, but I'm becoming less controlling, more patient as I advocate for myself without having to win, if that makes sense. And I just think that's miraculous. And I just want to give the glory to the spiritual part of this program, because this is not me. This is not my way. This is a new kid in town, and I'm glad she's here, because I think she's nicer to be around when she doesn't have to have it her way all the time. And it's a funny thing. It's a bit like, if you give a little, you get a little. If you give a little, you get a little. Nothing's win-lose. It's like we're both on the same team, can make constructive decisions for the relationship, however long it takes. And that's all I got. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Melissa. Meanwhile, maybe I'll share my Thanksgiving resentment. I think it might be interesting. So here in the US, Thanksgiving is a day where family and friends gather and share a meal. And a friend of mine had asked if she and her husband might join us. And that was fine, because I adore her and her husband, and I said yes. And I was considering Thanksgiving to be more like Thursday, but I made a little bit of more elaborate food than I would have maybe done for my family. And 30 minutes before my friend was due to arrive, she called to say that she was going to need to get on a Zoom call at the beginning of the meal. And if you know me well, anger is not my big character demon. I am a fearful, self-pitying person. Anger is not my thing, but I was like so angry. And on Thanksgiving, I didn't want to call anyone. I didn't think to call my European friends, but they were sleeping anyhow. Anyhow, I was really angry. And I didn't want to call anyone because I figured it would just be a whole voicemail situation. So I did 5 columns. I'm angry at my friend. She's going to get on a Zoom call during the meal. What does it affect? It affects everything. Maybe not sex and finances, but it affects my personal relations, my self-esteem, my ambition to have this meal go off in a certain way. And then what was column 4, right? My part. Well, I was being selfish because I was angry that she didn't want to do things my way. I had a script for her behavior. She was not following the lines, okay? This was a situation where she wanted to see her grandchildren on this Zoom call, and she tried to get the time changed, but family didn't cooperate. Okay, so selfish. Then I was dishonest because I was saying that her behavior was wrong and rude. And I'm not Miss Manners. I don't have the rule book. I didn't write the rule book, and I don't get to. And then there was fear that she doesn't value me and our relationship and the effort I made. And resolution. So my resolution was to pray to God to remove my fear, dishonesty, and selfishness, which I did, and to behave as a person of dignity and integrity, which I proceeded to do. And you know what? It was like magic. I wasn't angry anymore. She did her phone call. The rest of us continued without her. And eventually she came back and we continued. And I got to see someone I love very much. And I thought of saying, you know what, forget it. Don't come. And I was just so happy to see how our program works if we work it. That said, Ermelinda.
Oh, hi. I just wanted to say that I'm very thankful for all the work that has been done for this workshop. And my milestone is just I didn't do the homework, so I felt like I didn't want to come to the workshop, but I'm glad I did because I'm hearing a lot of recovery, and I like the idea of just pausing and thinking when I'm going to go for that food. And I had a wonderful time for Thanksgiving. I didn't overindulge the way I would have, and I think it's just due to being in meetings. I think that helps a lot. Thank you.
Armando, is that a bird that we're hearing in the background?
It's my clock.
It's your clock letting us know it's the top of the hour, and it is. All right. I'm so glad you came. And please, we have 2 more weeks. Step 9 is such a fun week. It's such a fun week in the workshop. And of course, our last session, we have all kinds of fun things. So whether you do the homework or not, wherever you are in your recovery, I hope that people will come to the last 2 sessions. And congratulations, Ermelinda, on your milestone. I think there was one in there. Audrey.
Okay. I think I hit okay. Okay. It's Audrey again at EDA in recovery. So the milestone is what with this past holiday that we celebrated and the future holidays that are going to be celebrated. I got into a depression. And it wasn't like a debilitating, paralyzing depression, but it was a depression because I'm still grieving. And I don't know about y'all, but grieving is intense. So the milestone is that I got out of bed and actually, I don't know, it was a little bit before this meeting to participate in my recovery and also to be of service. um, the milestone is that despite my fear, despite my anxiety, I am pressing through with the help of you all. And I want to just thank you very much because I couldn't do this without you. Thank you.
Thanks, Audrey. We'll go with Judy and then Kathy.
Thanks. Hi, my name is Judy. Recovering from an eating disorder. I had company for a week last week, and that was a bit of a challenge. And then different company, and that was a different kind of challenge. And so my milestone was that even though I had family obligations every day and huge family meals every day, I made time for myself. I was late for my regular Friday meeting, but I still showed up, and they just seemed happy to see me. And so one of our readings, I think this was last week, we were reading about the main point of step 3 is our willingness to set aside our daily drama so we can be of use in the world. And I thought, oh, I'm so glad I went to the meeting because I really tried to absorb that message of setting aside the daily drama. Like, I won't even go into the different quirks of different, it doesn't matter. I'm like, that's just that person's quirk. I don't need to like go gossip about it. I don't need to whatever. It's just that person's quirk. And so I did not perfectly, but I felt like I made progress in letting go of daily drama. So that's my milestone. Thank you.
Congratulations, Judy. Kathy.
Hey everyone, I'm Kathy, recovering from an eating disorder, and my first milestone is I'm one of the shy ones. I've never shared on the workshop, and today's my first time. My second one, I am really getting a lot out of this workshop. I went to the first one this year, but this time I'm really putting a lot of myself into it and getting more out of it. So I'm grateful and want to thank you all. But about 2 or 3 weeks ago, my computer crashed, and I had to miss one of the workshops. So my normal reaction is, well, just forget it. I can't do it perfect. So, I'll just quit. And I decided to come back, and then my printer broke. so I couldn't print any homework sheets. So, but my milestone is I'm still here. And that is so unlike me and so like the program. So thank you. My Thanksgiving milestone is I was going to be alone this year. And instead of lying, so no one would feel sorry for me, reached out to a couple of ladies, and we ended up going to a church dinner, a potluck, where everybody brought a dish and the turkey was provided. And I had a wonderful, wonderful time because I was with so many people and so much to do, but worry about what I'm eating. I was doing well in my program, and I'm just so grateful that the way it turned out. And so thank you all.
Congratulations for your courage today, and congratulations on your milestone, and thank you for sharing with us, Kathy. Leslie.
Thank you, Regina. Just a quickie. You mentioned 2 more weeks.
Yeah.
Step 9 next week, and then what's happened to step 11? Have I missed step 11 somewhere? Because presumably 12's the last one.
We do an 11-12 combo.
Oh, right. Okay, that answers that question.
And,
all right.
When we did step 10, we touched on morning quiet time and the pause. So we've touched on 11, and we're going to do some more. Okay. Step 12. Thank you for your question.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
People probably were wondering the same thing. Noelle.
I'm Noelle from California. I have a little list of some milestones, which I'm so grateful for because I went through a period where it just seemed like all hard work, struggle, pain, and the things I'm trying to improve upon. One of the benefits of aging I find is that I have time now to slow down. And since I have slowed down, oh my goodness, there's some new additional things that are coming into my life that are so wonderful because I've slowed down. And I can see what the next right step is for my healing, and it's wonderful. And sometimes, and also too, my ego is being diluted. I have the strongest ego in the world. My therapist told me, where the hell did that come from? And my ego is starting to dilute, and I can tell because I don't have to be the center of attention. I don't feel like everything I have to say is so important. I'm able to listen to others more, and I don't have to be high on the totem pole. I always wanted to be up there, center of attention, and now I'm starting to say, "Hey, it's okay," and kind of chuckle to myself. I'm kind of down here on the totem pole, kind of a little lower than, and it's okay. It's all right. I don't have to be the center. And then less controlling. I'm becoming more patient. I'm letting other people do things their way. I'm changing my perspective on my outward appearance. I'm learning how to be more comfortable in my own skin, so others are feeling more comfortable around me. And then I'm noticing beauty in nature more, how it affects me, it calms me, but I'm noticing the gift. Okay, I'm taking more risks, and I'm being slow to anger. I'm doing a check now, and that's really being helpful. I have more peace inside with myself and others. So thank you for letting me share.
Noelle, wonderful to be with you, and thank you for sharing those gifts of your recovery with us.
Thanks, Regina.
Margot and then Peg.
Hi, I'm Margot, recovering from an eating disorder. And this is like my second time sharing, so that's a little milestone. And also for Thanksgiving, I had to make a side that was giving me a lot of anxiety, and I wasn't sure how to make it, and should I do half and half or whatever. But I made it the way that I decided to make it. And then for Thanksgiving dinner, I was able to be present and be around people, even though it wasn't food that I would normally choose to eat. And I didn't eat perfectly that day like I wanted to. I was still able to be there and be present and be more present than I would have been without this group or previously. So just nice to be able to be around people and enjoy their company. So that's all my share, and thank you guys for listening.
Thank you, Margot, and congratulations on multiple milestones there. The baby one and the big one.
Yes.
Peg, you're next.
Hi, everybody. I'm Peg, and I'm very grateful to be here. And I wanted to share. I think the milestone that I'd really like to share is that often on holidays and when I'm the primary person who's taking care of food and things like that, there's a very black and white way that I look at food. So good food, this is a bad food. This is good behavior, this is bad behavior. I'm healthy or I'm unhealthy. And it's always been this very two end of a spectrum without having a whole lot of middle ground. And I'm just extremely grateful that this program offers me that middle ground and offers me more of an understanding that there are many, many different ways of looking at food and many, many different ways of looking at my behavior. And I'm really grateful for that. And the other thing that I wanted to mention is in EDA, the idea of looking at 10 things. Today, we talked about looking at 5 or 10 amends that we might have to make. That was in the reading. And what an anxiety reducer that is for me. For someone who wants to get it perfect, I want to do it perfect. I want to make sure I got it done and I got it done right and I got it done, black and white again. And so I'm really grateful for the gray. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate all the work that everyone has done with this workshop. It's just amazing. Thanks everybody. Thanks everybody for your shares.
Thank you, Peg. Appreciate your being willing to share with us. Jackie.
Am I there?
Yes.
Okay. First milestone is that I'm speaking. I have listened and gained so much from this workshop. And Regina, you and everyone who has put this workshop together have done a magnificent job. Several things I've learned in my 80 years. I'm 80 now, and all of my life it's been black or white thinking. It's either good or bad. And I've learned that there is no good or bad in food. It's just food. I've also learned that I can eat some of anything, but I can't eat all of everything. That has become my motto now. I'm here, which is a plus because I'm such a perfectionist, and because I have not kept up with the homework, it would have been so easy for me to drop out. However, every week by coming and just listening, I have learned so much. And so I plan to attend another workshop like this. I will continue to work on my steps, and I am out of the black and white thinking on the food. I have permission to eat whatever I feel like eating in a normal amount, whatever normal is. It's a setting on a dryer, but anyway, in a reasonable amount. Okay, that's all, folks. And from Georgia, I say bye and thank you so much.
Thank you, Jackie. I hope everyone caught that Jackie said normal is a setting on her dryer. That made me laugh. Okay, Gail. Thanks again, Jackie. Go ahead, Gail.
Hi, everybody. I'm Gail. I am from Williamsburg, Virginia, and I'm in recovery from an eating disorder. And I haven't shared in a while because I'm dealing with some shame and guilt. And I'll get into that real quick. So I joined EDA back when I was in treatment back in May or April. And when I learned about this workshop, I got really excited. Everything went really great with this workshop. I'm very excited taking notes and doing the homework, and got to step 1, 2, 3, 10, 11. And then I crashed. It was going too fast and I was doing too much and expecting too much. And fortunately, I do have a sponsor, and she said, Gail, we can just do it at our speed, and just keep going to the workshop and keep learning and listening. And that was the best advice. And I've kept coming, but I haven't shared. But I just want to just put this out there because so other people who may have perfectionistic tendencies and who have, been down on themselves for not keeping up. It's okay. And then I want to share quickly about Thanksgiving. This is the first year that I consciously used skills and it worked and I did great. And that's a huge milestone for me. Usually when I'm in distress, I panic and my emotions get hijacked, but I'm getting used to now knowing that there are skills out there and I have skills and I can use skills and they actually work if you use them. So, and I owe a lot of this to this workshop, and thank you all so much for your service. This has been a great experience. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Gail. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to your share. And at this point, I'm going to ask Marthy to close out the workshop, and then we'll turn the recording off and have an after party.
Thanks, Regina. This is so great. I'm so grateful to be here and to lead this meeting for you all today. Volunteers are selected prior to the start of each workshop. Next week, please consider joining us 10 to 15 minutes early to volunteer. We need a lot of readers next week, so please do come early. Anonymity reminder, please do not share who you've seen here or what others have shared here. 7th tradition. We have no dues or fees, and this workshop is offered at no cost. However, EDA has expenses, and donations are welcome. We hope you will consider a minimum donation of $14 for this 14-week workshop. To donate, go to the EDA website and select the support tab. If you wish to, please join me in saying the we version of the Serenity Prayer. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, courage to change the things we can, and wisdom to know the difference.
We hope you enjoyed today's workshop. More information about Eating Disorders Anonymous can be found at 4eda.org, the number 4eda.org. The handouts for this workshop can be found at edahopeforrecovery.com. We encourage you to check out one or more of the many EDA Zoom or in-person meetings. Many of us have found recovery from our eating disorders in these meetings and hope that you will too. Until next time.